I feel so old with my glasses now.
Look, we all have them. Look.
Otherwise.
Vic's the only cool one. Look, he's wearing his shades.
I honestly, I also need glasses. I have contacts in though, so I can look cool.
Okay. Yeah, we've given up.
I gave up contacts years ago. I was like, I wore contacts for 30 years, and I got a pair of glasses just to have when I didn't want to wear contacts, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to take these in and out every day. Oh, I'm not going back.
God, is this a podcast for old men? What the hell?
That's right, Bloodletter.
You hit a certain age and you just don't care anymore.
Nice. You got an old man there. You got an old man there yourself.
Cool. Yeah, look at you. Sitting with your old man.
No, I just had to get on and say, Crypt Kicker.
Nice.
That's funny.
Yeah, there'll be some Crypt Kicker talk for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't stay. I gotta.
The glory days.
Why can't you stay?
Because I'm gonna have to put Callum to bed. Calamity.
He doesn't know how to put himself in bed. How old's the kid? He's fucking 10 years old. He knows how to get into a bed.
Get in bed. We have all assembled. Look at this group.
I know.
What a motley bunch this is.
Look at this motley crew. Yeah.
This is crazy.
We need to do this for the horror movies too.
I know, but some people, Dreadbull doesn't like horror movies. I know
Dreadbull. What's up? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not into them. I don't have anything to add.
Well, what is your favorite?
What do you got going on there? That's really cool.
That's
what
right.
Is that?
See, you like that?
Dreadbull likes the American Girl story movies.
Yeah, I'm into the teenage angst stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we could talk about some of that. Like. Some of that
rom-coms, those sort of things.
All right. Well, we should probably probably get going. We got this great intro, and now we have so many people here. This is exciting.
Great.
Well, I'm gonna split.
No, you gotta stay around.
I can stay. Do you want me to stay around for the intro?
Yes, you gotta stay around to ask a few questions when you're here. Come on. It's 7:00. What time does Callum go to bed?
Oh, I just wanted to say hi. I really don't have. I just wanted to say hi. Okay.
All right.
Let's start this thing.
Let's start it.
Do our stupid intro.
Stupid. You love this intro.
Dumb intro.
Oh, come on, Dreadbull. You love it. You're a secret fan.
That's right.
Go ahead. We'll see what they think.
Hey, this is Ralph Sheepers, and you're listening and watching to Heavy Metal Horror.
Go ahead, sorry. And
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
Hey, I'm Chop Top, and this is Heavy.
And Dreadbull.
And Bloodletter.
I'm Vic.
And you are listening to Heavy Metal Horror. Oh, kids, tonight we have a phenomenal show. Oh, and look, the gang's all here. We have so many people here tonight.
It's a party.
It's a party. It's amazing. Tonight we are going to be interviewing Cleveland metal legend Eric Elkins, who you may know from bands such as Crypt Kicker and Beyond Fear, among others. So, Eric, welcome to Heavy Metal Horror. It is great to have you on.
Thanks for having me, fellas. It's awesome to be on.
Oh, thanks. We've been excited to talk with you. Got some good stories to tell you. Got a really good story to tell you about a Crypt Kicker show that Dreadbull has been living for the last 30 years or so, 25 years. Yeah, about 30, I think now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you got the worst end of that one, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I certainly did. Why we're still friends amazes me. But anyway.
I wonder.
Yeah. Well, your mom gave me money, so you know. Probably about as much as my mom gave yours.
Yeah, right. There was a lot of money changing hands. Let's put it that way.
My mom, oh, Mark is just so unpopular. Let's just pay some nice kid to play with him. So, hey, Eric, we are just going to have some fun tonight, and we're going to talk about your music that you've been playing for a long time. You've got a lot of experiences, a lot of stories. We want to hear all of them, and we're just going to have a good time. So, and we have some special. We have a special game. Maybe we should just start with that. Should we start with the spin the wheel?
No, let's
save that. Get right into it. Okay, let's just start it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Eric. First question. Here's how did you first get into music?
Probably playing drums was I had an older brother. Well, I still have an older brother named Larry. But yeah, he played drums, and yeah, they were just always around growing up, so just started banging on them at an early age, and then got into band class in elementary school, junior high, and high school. And then eventually led into like meeting buddies, classmates who, buddy of mine, Rick Beamer, played guitar. And then another buddy, Dan Cabasso, played bass. And we started our first band called Ezra, which we ripped off the Van Halen logo. We used the wings, and the VH. We did that with the.
Oh, nice job, Weezer. Good job,
Yeah, we
Weezer.
totally ripped it off. They had a homemade bass drum head, that I painted up with the logo on it, with spray paint. But yeah.
But what
I remember Ezra from I remember that from high school.
We were the only band to ever play our homecoming dance. We played like 3 songs. They allowed us to play 3 songs.
That's cool though, man. That's fun.
That is awesome. Yeah.
what do you remember those 3 songs? What they were?
No, they were like covers. I think one was probably like Van Halen's version of "You Really Got Me," and then I think we had an original, that I'm sure went over really well with the dance crowd.
Clowns never laughed before.
Yeah, they probably loved it. They were all just glaring at us like, okay, you guys can, stop at any time now.
Yeah, like the 22-minute version of Inagata Davida, something like that.
Oh, yeah. About 3.5 minutes into it, you're like, okay, this song can end.
Nice.
People kind of want to dance now.
Well, they can slow dance.
You're killing my buzz.
That's right. What attracted you to the hard rock and the metal scene then? As far as genres.
My brother Jeff, who he passed away back in 2009. Not to bring down the show, but he was a huge like hard rock and metal fan growing up. So I had my dad who like listened to the old school, Roy Orbison and Hank Williams Sr. and all the old school country and rock stuff. And then my brothers listened to all the hard rock, and that kind of got me influenced into, just harder music in general, I guess.
I remember a lot of I'm sorry. I remember a lot of Hee Haw being on at your house when your dad was always watching Hee Haw.
Every Saturday night, dude.
Yeah. It was
I
all
think it was a
always
dad
remember
thing.
Hee Haw.
Yeah, Buck Owens, Roy Clark.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my next guitar I'm buying is a Buck Owens, red, white, and blue. I'm totally getting one. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you had mentioned Van Halen. So what other bands or artists influenced your early musical interests?
Zeppelin for sure. Sabbath. Deep Purple. You name it. All the classic like hard rock bands of the 70s growing up. Hendrix and the Beatles, Who, all that stuff as an early 4 or 5 year old kid. I remember just loving like that stuff, like Revolution by the Beatles. I love that tune, as a kid. It was so hard to me, the guitars and stuff seemed so edgy.
It was a heavy song at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, by today's standards, it's not, but and then it progressed, I had buddies that were way into like, Rick Beamer, for instance. Yeah, he was into, the Slayer and Exodus and Exciter and all this like new, thrash that was coming out, Merciful Fate and stuff like that. And it was just so scary to me, back then. Plus I was a church kid. I was just like, there's no way my parents are gonna let me listen to this. I had to hide, like shout at the devil like it was drugs. I had to stash spot. I had to take the album.
You're not shouting with the devil, you're shouting at the devil.
Yeah, Mom. Exactly.
Yeah,
They
you're
weren't
shouting.
not shouting with the devil.
I still hide mine from my mom, so I get it. You know?
Right.
Yeah. Mark
Your double
Allen,
albums in your porn stash.
Mark Allen, do you have double albums on you? You know, I get those calls.
Right. That was
On you.
that's a big no-no. Right.
Well, speaking of albums,
totally, man.
do you remember the very first album you bought? Like with your own money?
My own money. Let me see. That's a good question now. Wow.
That's why
It
we're
might
so
have been
fucking
Power
good.
Slave. I think it was Power Slave.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Excellent.
How could you not
Probably-
let that cover is going to grab your attention right away, man? One of the best covers
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
You know, a big pyramid on there. Hell yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it was back when there was
You-
something to look at, album covers.
You,
Yeah.
both of you guys actually were into that before I was. I remember, because you're a couple of years older than me,
Mm-hmm.
few years, whatever, but you guys were way into Maiden before I was. I kind of got into, I had other friends, like I said, that were into the thrash and stuff before I eventually got into it. They were introducing me to that stuff, and I remember growing up and you guys were really into Maiden, and it was cool. Kind of pushed me into that direction too. You guys
Nice.
and a couple buddies.
Nice.
So it's
yeah.
safe to say you wouldn't be where you are without us. So
For one for you guys.
that's kind of nice.
Wow. Okay.
Well, now it feels pretty good. That's you're welcome.
I
So,
think
by
we
the
can
way.
just shut the show down now. We've
Yeah.
made it. We've done all we need to do.
Just when we
That's
thought
it.
we couldn't
All
get
right.
any
Thank you, guys.
better than we were. Mind blown. Imagine
Yeah. Well, that was I have to thank Montag
You didn't
there
know
for
it,
getting
did
me
you?
into Maiden.
You had no clue.
I did not know that.
Wow, that's great. No, I didn't know either. Well, as we all know you from the first big band that you were in was Crypt Kicker, big Cleveland metal band, and I was just doing a little research into Crypt Kicker because there's some stuff out there, but that first CD you brought out, was it unusual? What was it? The unusually high level of hate.
High level of hate.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
See, right there, Big Scott.
Yeah.
one.
Boom,
Yeah.
baby. Yes.
Right on.
That sold 20,000 units. Do you know that?
Yeah, I heard that. It was like kind of weird, but you don't really think about it too much. Back then, I know Record Exchange, we would sell out so fast that they were like, look, we couldn't keep up with the demand, because as soon as we get a few $100, we'd spend it on t-shirts or something else. So you wouldn't have the couple grand that you needed all at once to produce 1,000. So they just started buying them. Like, look, we'll pay upfront to have these produced, and we'll give you, $5 a CD. So it was a win-win. It was
Sure.
nice. We're paying all the upfront costs, and we got $5 a disc. And we try to keep the cost low as much as we could, so kids could afford it. And,
Sure.
keep the t-shirt costs low. And that was part of the reason why it sold so many, because we kept it affordable. It wasn't $15. It was
Right.
like, I think $5 or under $10 when we first started selling them,
Yeah.
Hey, let's face it. I mean, in the 90s, man, in the Cleveland metal scene, you guys were the name in Cleveland, through a good chunk of the 90s. You know, I mean, you guys were, big draw. I mean, it was Crypt Kicker all over the place. So that was awesome. Along those lines, I'm shocked you guys never got signed throughout all that time.
Yeah.
As popular
Can
as
we
you guys
touch-
were locally and in. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vic.
No, can we touch on that? I was curious that myself. These guys come in, they all spend hours. They're like online PhDs. They know everything about you. I'm the asshole that comes in. I'm a wild card, and I don't know shit. I only know that you were in Crypt Kicker, Law of Destruction, and you're in that Maiden cover band with Ed. That's all I know. And Beyond Fear, I knew that too. So I want to ask that question. That's a good question. What was there any labels interested? Were offers turned down? If you could elaborate on that, that would be incredibly interesting, because you guys did have a massive following, at least in Lorain County. And Mark saying the 20,000 unit thing, I wasn't aware of that. That's fascinating. That's mind blowing to me. So what happened there? Was anyone nuclear blast was a thing then? I mean, what was the deal? Did you guys send demos out and just not? Yes, elaborate.
Yeah, we originally started off as Gallows Eve. Like, The band
Okay,
was more of like a traditional, like thrash power metal band. It started off as like, more like power metal and thrash metal and more solo-y stuff and noodly stuff. It was really cool, actually. But Woody Simmons joined the band, and we changed the name to Crypt Kicker. And he was the bass player. And he was like, hey, you know what? You guys have really cool riffs and a lot of cool parts, but one song could be like 4 songs, because you just have so many parts and so much stuff going on. He goes, let's just take it and simplify things. And, just basically keep it simple, and that kind of just is where it took off. And we, college radio for sure, without Bill Peters and guys like him and Roger Ganley and just people I'm forgetting about, like Pat Kellogg. She worked at WCSB or something like that. I can't remember back in the day, but so long ago. But yeah, that was the way to get music out, for local bands, was college radio. And that's where we blew up. And then, obviously opening for national bands. But anyway, yeah, that's how we got kind of recognized and blew up. And within a couple of years, labels like Century of Media, I think, and Earache, and a couple other, smaller, still good sized labels, I think Relapse, maybe. I can't remember. It's been so long. Even Roadrunner, I think, listened to stuff and then they turned it down.
Okay.
But yeah, there was just like things that happened, issues with the band. And we turned down a couple offers that, we thought, okay, well, we'll just wait for the next best offer. And eventually they just dried up, but then there was personal issues with the band that kind of hurt, our trajectory and stuff,
How long did you guys end up playing together? How long was Crypt Kicker going?
With that lineup, I think it was about 5 or 6 years. Okay. The original lineup recorded, that recorded all the material. I think 94 to 2001, 2002. So it's probably 7-8 years.
Okay.
With the original lineup.
You guys have any regrets turning down any of those offers looking back now, in hindsight? Or were you happy how things played out for you guys?
Yeah, I guess it just happened. It happens the way it was supposed to happen, I guess, kind of got to look at it. At the time it was like, geez, there was our opportunity blown, but yeah, it happens.
Well, it worked out for you though, because ultimately you would go on to do all the things that you would have done had you been signed with Crypt Kicker, with Beyond Fear. No,
exactly. Yeah.
So that's
funny because after Crypt Kicker, I had an offer to join a band out in LA, and a singer that was from the Ohio, like Canton area, actually auditioned for them. He was friends with Dez from Cold Chamber. Actually, when they first got their start, they would play at Ron's Crossroads in Akron a lot before Cold Chamber blew up in the late 90s. And a friend of mine, he auditioned for vocals for this band, Speak No Evil, and then they needed a drummer. They actually had 2 records out on Universal Records in 99 and 2001, I believe. And they had the singer and drummer quit, so they were looking for a drummer. And I basically auditioned with my Crypt Kicker CDs because I was working, construction in the union. I couldn't fly out to LA. I just couldn't afford to do that. So I'm like, let's just basically, I'll send you what I've done. And if you like what you hear, I got to be my audition,
Yeah.
And they liked it. They said, you've got the job if you want it. And I moved out there. It was crazy. All this stuff happened to me on my way out there. Like just stuff that just seems like I was cursed, like I shouldn't be going to LA.
Right.
But I went out there for a summer and it was really cool. I met some cool people. The first night I was in Hollywood, I met this, ran into exactly, her name was Pat Kellogg. I was just talking about her, but she moved out to LA to work with one of the labels out there. But it was funny because she recognized my buddy's Indian shirt when we were hanging out at one of the clubs, and she seen me, and she goes, "You were a Crypt Kicker." And the guy that was the bass player in the band that I just moved out there to join, he goes, "Dude," he goes, "you've been here like 5 minutes. You know, you've met like somebody from Cleveland like 5 minutes." He goes, "Seriously?" I go, "I don't know. You know, what am I supposed to say?" But it was just weird. It was like, wow, small world. But yeah, I went all the way out there to make it big. That fell through, and then I come back home. And then within a year, I'm jamming with it with Ripper. So it was like, it was just meant to be, you know, just come back home. And
how did that connection come about? Let's talk about Beyond Fear. Yeah. I mean, how did you end up getting connected with that project?
Oh, that was through John Capri. He was a guitar player and lead guitar player in Beyond Fear. We were in a band called Law of Destruction, which was like a thrash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we played with you guys at least once. Yeah.
Yep. We played with Vindicator.
Nice. Yeah, before we actually had any type of like connections, I knew you prior to all the family connections we have now. So that's wild how that works. That's a small world, you know.
I know, it's crazy. It is nuts, but yeah, that's how Beyond Fear formed, was through jamming in Law of Destruction, and John approached us one day at rehearsal. It was like, hey, we knew he had a relationship with Tim. They knew each other from his days when he was in Spawn. I don't know if you guys remember Spawn back in the 90s.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Akron band. So Tim and John had a history from those days. And he just says, hey, you know, Tim and I have been writing songs together. He's looking to start a band. Would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, who the hell would be? You know?
I'm good.
Yeah. No, I'll pass, you know. So yeah,
I'm looking for something bigger.
Yeah.
Waiting for something better.
Right. How was that first meeting? You know, I mean, because you're both local guys. That's the great thing about this, is that Cleveland, Akron, but like by the time you meet Tim, you know, he's already sung for Judas Priest and Iced Earth, and then he forms his band. So, you know, how was that first meeting?
We bonded over chips and salsa at his local favorite Mexican restaurant. It was awesome. Yeah. We met there, had some drinks, and he's like, hey, you want to jam? Here's 4 songs that we've demoed with the drum machine. Here you go. Learn these songs. We had 2 rehearsals and recorded those songs, I think, at the Lava Room at Billy Morris's studio.
Yeah.
And within like a month, we were signed to SPV. It was like, wow, that's easy. You know? So this is how it's done, Tim.
Oh,
wow.
But it happened really fast. I think within 2 months we were opening. We were playing on a big outdoor festival in Monterey. It was the Monterey Metal Fest in 2005 with like Danzig and Motorhead co-headlining, and we actually played like right after Metal Church, and I was just like, I was pumped to see Metal Church. You know, it was like one of my favorite bands. Yeah. The first album, especially, that was classic. But yeah, it happened really quick. You know, being Tim's notoriety. You know?
Right.
We were lucky. We were fortunate. So,
I mean, you play with all these bands. I mean, what did you get to like hang out? Because I know you guys also like opened for Anthrax, and like, did you like hang out with Motorhead? I mean, did you hang out with Metal Church? I mean, when you're doing these festivals, do they know you, or do they know Tim, or how does that work? Like, you're just like going on like, hey Anthrax, hey Motorhead, hey Metal Church, how's it going?
Yeah, they're like, hey Ripper and Ripper's band.
Exactly.
Good enough.
Well,
it's tag-alongs.
I mean, dude, you hung out with Dio, did you not?
Yes.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear that story.
Yeah, that dinner story. Please, Eric, if you can embellish on that with Ronnie James and his wife, Wendy.
Wendy, yeah. She actually that point of that was in the Anthrax tour, and we were on like our third show of the tour, and she actually rode the bus with us that first week of the tour, because we started off in Scotland, and then first leg of the tour was in Great Britain. So that night, I think it was Wolverhampton, England. She says, "Hey, Ronnie's Ronnie's going to be at the show tonight. He's recording with Black Sabbath again. It's going to be Heaven and Hell now instead of Black Sabbath, but they were actually in the studio recording those songs while, you know, we were on tour. And like 5 minutes before we go on, I'm like waiting behind the curtain. Okay. You know, I'm getting, you know, get the butterflies and stuff. I'm, okay. And here comes Ronnie, and he's wearing like this long kind of like fur coat. And he goes, "Hi, I'm Ronnie James Dio." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, you are." Dude. Hey, man, fuck, you know, I was so proud. And yeah, it was just like, right? Man. Yeah. And then I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Ronnie James Dio. Don't fuck up now. Now I got to go play." And he stood there like our whole set back, you know, and watched our whole, you know, 45-minute set. But then afterwards, the funny thing was too, his crew, like his drum tech and guitar techs and, you know, monitor guy and front of house guy and all that, tour manager were all our, you know, crew for the tour. So he had that relationship with all these guys, and we were just, you know, meeting all these guys for the first time on that tour. So yeah, we benefited from having this total pro, you know, road crew. I'm used to like setting up my own stuff, and, you know, I go to clean the cymbals and set, and the, you know, the roadie's like, "Dude, get your hands off this stuff." You know, it's my job. You know? You're the performer. I'm the crew. You know, leave it alone. And I'm just like, whoa, you know, I'm not used to that at all. But yeah, he took us out to dinner later that night at an Indian restaurant. I never had Indian food till that night, you know, so that was cool. But he sat, you know, at the table. It was like the scene out of the Last Supper or something. You know, like Ronnie and all his disciples, you know. You know, and I made sure I sat right across from him. I was like, "No, you guys," I'm like, put up elbows, fighting these dudes off, like, "Get away from me." I'm sitting right across from the man, you know.
Right. The man.
And the cool thing was John was like, "Hey, what's Man on the Silver Mountain about?" And he says, "Well, when I was a kid, I read a lot of books about, you know, mythology and knights and things like that, and dragons and stuff like that." But he said it's just basically the belief of being, you know, all powerful, and you're the man on top of the world, the man on the Silver Mountain. It was kind of, you know, that whole, you know, being a kid, that's where it all came from, reading those books, he said. But yeah, it was cool. He told us the stories about when he toured, and he was just so friendly and kind and gracious and generous. And I mean, he paid for everybody's dinner for number one, you know, nobody had to pay for dinner. And
damn, imagine that. Imagine Ronnie James Dio buying you dinner.
Yeah, right. I should have been buying him dinner, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he actually told us an interesting story about his time in Rainbow. He didn't say Rainbow, but he goes, "This is a band I was in before, you know, Sabbath days." You know, the guitarist was a really famous guitar player. And he said, after, you know, shows, because we were just like, "Man, you're so great. You're so humble. You're so kind." And he's like, "You know, I learned a lesson a long time ago." He goes, "I always wanted to treat people, you know, like I, you know, want to be treated, the golden rule, you know, treat others how you want to be treated." And he said these fans would wait, you know, for an hour or whatever after the show, you know, just to get like, you know, a minute of your time, an autograph or a photo. And he goes, that 1 minute is going to make their friggin' life. You know, they're going to be your fan for the rest of your life. That's all you got to take, that 1 minute of your time. And he goes, there's no harm in that. Sign somebody's autograph, take a picture. But he said he would be so rude and tell people, "Piss off, fuck off, get the fuck away from me." You know, and he's just like, these kids would just look like, "Oh my God, my hero just like cursed me out," and you know, told me to fuck off, you know. And he goes, they were so disappointed, and he goes, you know, you didn't have to, he just didn't want to leave his fans with that same disappointment. So he said he always took that time.
Yeah, because once that happens, it doesn't come back. You know.
First and last impression, you know, I guess, or whatever. But
right. Outstanding gentleman and a human being. Absolutely. What was it like, you know, with John Oliva in there too? Sabotage, like, because you had that dinner with, my recollection of what I've heard, you've had dinner with John Oliva, Sabotage. What was that like between him and Ronnie and you? And
oh man, I'm so freaking lucky. Let me say that. I'm so lucky to have met the people and played the shows.
Yeah.
And when we do these things, I was just like, oh my God, it's so and so. It's John Oliva. It's the guys from Anthrax. It's Ronnie James. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
yeah, dude.
A super huge fan, and you're so like nervous to approach these people at the same time, you know. But then you're on the same stage as they are. But I don't ever look at myself as like on that level. You know, I always felt like I was just fortunate enough to be on the same stage playing shows, like a dream come true, you know. But John Oliva we did like a 2-week leg with him down the East Coast kind of deal in 2005. But he was just another great guy. He was so much fun. He liked to put them down too. Let me tell you, Jägermeister.
No, Jaeger.
Oh, we got to go to that story eventually. We will get there. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He liked to put them down. So we had a lot of fun with him too, and he was super kind and gracious. He took us under his wing. He was like a father to us that 2 weeks. You know.
That's so cool.
That's
man.
awesome, man.
That's great.
That is so cool.
Yeah. There are just. I could hear these stories for hours, you know.
One more before we
Sure.
leave Beyond Fear.
Yeah.
You gotta tell the story you told me a long time ago about when you were touring with Beyond Fear in Mexico, and about the dream you had when you were a kid. Remember that story you told me?
Yeah, that was a trip.
Yeah. Tell that. That was awesome.
Yeah. No, I just had this dream years ago. I was probably, I don't know, late teens. I might have even been 20 for all I know. It was a long freaking time ago, but I was young. But it was like I was playing in this big arena, but it was more like a huge barn. Imagine a barn that held like 10,000 people, you know? So yeah, basically had a dirt floor, but in my dream, I'm up on stage with Dio, you know? But then years later, fast forward like 2008, we were playing with Queensryche, and we're playing in Monterrey, Mexico, and the arena was a bullfighting arena, and it had a big giant dirt floor. Except, you know, Dio, it was Jeff Tate, so close enough. You know?
Good enough.
Almost named after
I like how he's just dropping names. Oh yeah, we were touring with Queensryche. Like
Queensryche.
I'm sorry. I was so lucky because, like I said, I've always been huge fans of all these bands, and I just feel like such a fan. You know, just like I'm just so lucky to be in this position to be able to play these shows, share the stage, and you know, have these experiences.
Did you like when you were doing these shows? I mean, opening for Anthrax, opening for Queensryche. I mean, how much camaraderie was there between you and the other guys? Like during the downtimes between shows on the road. I mean, you had to like, you know, did you guys hang out together at all, or was it just like they did their thing, you did their thing, and
yeah,
I mean, you had to get to know these guys a little bit, right?
Yeah, the Anthrax tour for sure. That was like a month long, so we definitely got to know those guys. Joey Belladonna, super freaking cool. He was just always, you know, hey guys, how you doing? And I mean, everybody in the band, don't get me wrong, they were all really cool. But Danny Spitz, I mean, the guy was awesome. He would like go, you know, sightseeing with us. Like, hey, I want to show you around. We were in Milan, Italy. He goes, I want to show you one of my favorite places on earth. I'm like, well, shoot, you know, we got to go, you know. And yeah, they were all just super. I mean, friendly, and Frankie Bello, Charlie. I mean, they were all super cool. Scotty, and you know.
Do you and Charlie talk drums at all? Like playing?
You know
like,
what? He's kind of a quiet guy and reserved. He's super friendly. Don't get me wrong, but I was just really nervous to approach him. To be honest, I was just like, man, this is one of my heroes. But I should have grew a pair of balls and said, hey, Charlie, you know, how do you tune your snare or something, you know? But I was just like, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine. I could totally get that. You know, having that breakthrough, you know, and I guess over time I would think it would go away. But if he's reserved and you're afraid to go talk to him. I guess you could spend a month on the road and like not have 2 conversations with him.
Yeah, we did. We did talk. It was like small talk. Hey, how
Sure.
you doing? Good, man. How you doing? Oh, great, man.
Right.
Good show last night. Kind of stuff. But I say the most, that we did hang out was with Joey Belladonna and Danny Spitz and Frankie Bello.
Mm-hmm.
But Scotty, and Charlie were a little more reserved. They're super friendly guys. Don't get me wrong. I love them. They were great to us. The one cool thing was they kind of like at the end of the tour, we ended in Italy, and I'm up on stage. Every night of the tour, I could smell freaking weed. Like every night I'm back there playing. I'm like, where's the smell coming from? And I like to partake. So I'm like, I'm back there. Fired up. Where's it coming from? And then finally the guitar tech from Anthrax revealed, he'd been hiding behind like the monitors, like blowing puffs, in between the wedges and stuff behind me and the curtain and everything. But yeah, Charlie and all those guys were like throwing food from the catering service at me while I was playing the last night of the tour. So I go, that's cool. At least they, liked me enough.
You got hazed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. A little hazing. Right.
Cheese, cheese and crackers. I was hungry too, man.
Great. Like I can imagine, when same experience with Queensryche. I mean, did you talk with Scott Rockenfeld and talk drums, or was it just, how was life on the road with those guys too?
That was only like a couple shows, unfortunately. I wish it would have been longer. So, we were, it was cool. We got to hang out a couple nights. Didn't talk a whole lot, like I said, a little small talk sometimes, but Jeff Tate was friendly. He was real peculiar though, in a way, like, not to sound mean, but he sort of greeted you like a I don't know, like a TV show game in a way, like, not as enthusiastic, but he was real proper, like, hello, how are you doing today? And he was, it's a very fine evening, isn't it? Shake your hand. But it was like real proud, because I'm just like, hey, what's up, bro? What's going on, dog? But no, I it was funny. That just kind of struck me weird because no, he's a super nice guy. And they were all cool. But yeah, we did. I wish we would have played more shows with them. Definitely, that was fun. We actually did a lot of shows with Vicious Rumors, those guys from San Francisco. They were a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun with that tour we did. I wish, could have been more. I think the second album, actually, we had a second album with Beyond Fear that was recorded. Everything was tracked except for solos and vocals, and it was pretty much ready to start mixing. I think we had a couple songs that were pretty close mix-wise, that were pretty decent, like you wouldn't be afraid to play them for people. But other than that, everything was really rough, like demo stuff, type quality mix. But it was unfortunate because I thought like the songs were a lot stronger and more true metal and less kind of, like kind of, whatever.
What genre would you call that?
That I just gank.
Yeah, that one.
Like Godsmacky kind of genre.
Okay, fair enough.
I think like a lot of stuff on the first Beyond Fear album was a mixture of like John's songs were more true metal kind of songs, and then the stuff that Tim wrote was more like Godsmack kind of type riffs, which I don't
hear that. You can
know,
hear that too.
I'm just not into that. I want to hear like more riffy stuff and just more driving, more right. Just more driving type stuff. But it was still cool. I was glad to play on it. Don't get me wrong, trying to sound like I'm putting it down. But I just think for our band and the way that Tim sings, like it would have been more fitting, with more metal type direction.
True. So what ended up happening? That's what I was sitting here wondering. Like, why did Beyond Fear only do one album? What happened to the second one then?
Great question. Yes.
Because it doesn't make any money.
Really?
That's pretty much it. Yeah. Tim's has
even with Owens' name on it, it wasn't making enough money to.
I think we would have to tour so much, and then having to pay us you know, to go over to Europe and to go, you know, to these shows in other countries. It costs too much for him to where he's not making the money that he needs to make, which I understand, you know. And that was kind of like the issue with the whole band was basically it just wasn't profitable enough, which it kind of sucked. I wish even if we didn't tour, just remain a recording band.
Right.
Maybe do a few spot festivals or something, or but you know, for that sake, because there's no money and it would still remain like a, you know, actual band. But no, it's cool. I wish maybe I'll just throw some of those really rough mixes out there.
That'd be awesome.
Anonymously, let them circulate.
I'll do it.
Don't do it.
Well, are you still in touch with any of these guys?
No.
Eric, are you still in touch with any of these guys at all? Like, do you talk to Tim or any of the guys from Anthrax or Queensryche, Motorhead? I mean, you know.
No, not much. You know, I would for a little while was in contact with Joey Belladonna a little bit. You know, he was doing solo stuff for a little while after that reunion tour, and then he went back to the band. You know, he was kind of out for a few years back and forth in the mid 2000s or whatever. Late 2000s. But yeah, then we were supposed to do a show with his band, his solo band in Mexico, and all the cartel violence was like spiking, and he got really nervous to travel down there, which I don't blame him. With his name, you know, like they wouldn't worry about kidnapping me, like, oh, leave that gringo alone, you know, no money. Like, look, dude, I do drywall. I was having the drum, you know, for Tim's band, but after the tour, I got to go back to drywall, bro. You know, I'm a sheetrock star.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. That was good.
You've been holding on that one.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe Facebook, that kind of stuff. Basically, keeping in touch with guys like that here and there. You know, you see their posts and stuff like that. But yeah. That's about the only contact, you know, some of those guys here and there.
Well, that's good because you never know if somebody's doing a new project and they need a drummer, maybe in the back of their head, you know, you've kept in touch with them and like, who do I know that plays drums? You never know. Yeah. You know, strange things happen.
The market for old, you know, middle-aged over the hill with an 8-year-old.
It's the real Crypt Kicker.
Yes.
Hey,
old metal guy market. Yeah. There's a big market for old metal guys, man.
I can still do it. I just don't look the part much these days. You know, just for men, you know, I could use some.
You know.
You got hair in the wrong spots.
All of our idols are getting old and gray now. They can still rock, man. You know?
That's true. I know.
They can still rock.
Wisdom hairs, guys.
Touch of gray.
Touch of gray, right? That's right. Touch of gray. A little Grateful Dead in there. Wisdom hairs. So there we go.
So all those tours and all those experiences, is there any stories that you like to tell over and over, like really kick-ass, funny, or just awesome experiences that happened that we haven't touched on yet?
Man, I have a great story to tell that Dio told us, but I mean, it's not going to get him in trouble now.
Right,
you know, but I'd like to tell it. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't.
Okay, come on.
Let's hear it. You
All
can
right.
tell it, and if you really don't want it to go on air, he can edit it out.
I can always edit it out.
All right, I'm going to tell it. All right.
Okay.
I don't really give a shit. It was told to me. Well, I didn't do it. You know. No, he said we were at dinner, and he goes, I said, yeah, you know, I got to see on the Lock Up the Wolves tour at Nautica in Cleveland, you know, Jacob's Pavilion. Now, you know, whatever it's called. I was just there last night for Blackberry Smoke Show, which was pretty cool. But anyway. He says, that was a good tour. Yngwie was opening up for him. And he said one night after a show, him and Yngwie are sitting backstage and they're just bullshitting. And I guess Yngwie was just really rotten to like his row crew and his guitar techs. And they just, nobody liked him, man. He said, man, just like everybody was just like, oh my God, Yngwie, you know. And so it was Ronnie's guitar or one of his texts comes in and says, "Hey, Ronnie, would you guys like a drink?" And yeah, Ronnie said, "Yeah, give me a drink, blah, blah, blah." And he says, Yngwie says, "Yeah, give me a screwdriver," you know. And so he goes and makes him a drink and he brings it back. And basically Yngwie sips it, says, "You know, this ain't no fucking drink. Give me a real fucking drink." And he like tosses it or something, you know. And so Ronnie's roadie goes back into the little bar area, separate room, starts making another drink, but instead of orange juice,
oh no,
he starts pissing the thing. And then he said he gets busted by Yngwie's guitar tech. He walks in on him like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm making Yngwie a drink." "What do you mean, what am I doing?" And he goes, "Well, here, give it to me. Let me make Yngwie a drink too." So then he topped it off with a little bit of orange juice and stirred it up. Gave it to him, and he goes, Yngwie's like, "Now that's a fucking drink."
That's a funny fucking story right
The
there.
Bear Grill screwdriver, man. That's a Bear Grill screwdriver.
That's a real screwdriver, for real. A Phillips screwdriver.
Oh man.
Oh gosh,
But
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
that was a classic story. That wasn't my story. I wish it was my story.
That's a great story.
I think this might be time for a good story that I could tell about the
We'll
old Crypt
harken
Kicker
back
days.
to the Crypt Kicker.
Yeah. Now, Dreadbull and I went to see you play down in the flats. Where was
It's in
where was
the Peabody's.
Peabody's?
Peabody's,
And
yeah.
with a couple
The original
other bands.
Peabody's
Yeah.
location.
Was that when no Cold Chamber? I don't think was playing with them, but yeah, we were down there, and I don't know if you know this about Dreadbull, but he doesn't handle his mixed liquor very well. You know, he
Now
starts
we
having
do.
a beer,
Not
he
that
starts
much.
drinking Jaeger, beer. I'm like, oh. So anyway, so
Well, I'll blame my buddy Larry. You remember Larry Yost? He probably
yeah.
listened to this. Hi, Larry.
he was
He
buying,
started shoving a lot of shots my way, like,
and he offered me
yeah.
one. I'm like, no, I knew it was Jaeger.
Jaeger
I'm like,
and
that's
Beam.
fucking
Don't
nasty.
blame it on somebody else. You did
Oh,
it, buddy.
I'm like,
That's
No,
right.
I
That's
threw
right.
them all down. I threw them down.
You threw them all down. So by the end
Yeah.
of the show, he was he was in a bad way. So we're just walking out. It's a cool wintry evening, you know, and he goes, "Here, you better have the keys. You better drive." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna drive because I haven't been drinking." So he sits. He's like, "Just let me sit here for a second."
There's
So
an
we sit
interesting mosh pit too in that show, but
Yeah, well, that's another.
we won't get into
story.
any details. But there were good mosh pits at the Crypt Kicker
We'll
shows.
save that for a non-recorded episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Did
he
it
sits.
have to
Then
involve-
he just starts throwing up. He's sitting outside the truck. He's like, "Ugh." I'm like, "Oh, okay, good. It's coming up. It's coming up." I'm like, "Ugh." And he pukes twice. He's like,
It was blue too. I think it was
he goes, "I think I
Jägermeister
feel
blue.
pretty good." It was all liquid. So then, like, he
Raspberries.
goes to get in the truck. He pukes one more time. I'm like, "Okay, it's out of his system." So we're driving home, and Mark's Dreadbull's got his head out the window like a dog, just laying there, and I hear this, and I feel this cold mist wash over my face.
Yes.
And I'm like, and I go, Mark, is it snowing outside? He's like, no. I'm like, oh. Then I heard another, and I feel cold mist. So I
Jaeger?
and so now, so he's puking. Every time he throws up, I'm getting a wash of his puke on my face. And it's all liquid and cold. And like, and then behind me, there's a car. You know, I can see the headlights in the car. And every time he pukes, I can see this car weaving back and forth, trying to like evade the streams of vomit flying behind. You know, and it's like, and I'm like, I got to step on the gas, and I can see it trying to wash its windshield, you know. And I'm like, fuck, they're going to catch us. And I gunned him. I'm doing like 90. Mark's like, yeah. And it's like, you know, and I think by the time we got home, he had puked everything out and was sober enough. I think we had to take the car to we took the truck.
I
to the
think
car
you
wash.
stopped. You were nice enough to stop and power wash the.
Yeah, I power washed the back
the
because there
outside
was
of the car.
vomit
the truck.
everywhere. You know, inside the car, outside the car.
The back
I'm
window was
like,
like stained glass.
yeah, it was
really
and it was
awful.
just, you know. And then I remember when Dreadbull went to sell that truck a few years ago, he said he was still finding little tiny dry bits of vomit in the crevices.
Oh my
The
God.
great soak.
Bravo. Bravo.
So that's
Job
what you
well
know.
done.
You got me
That
home
was a good
safely though,
night.
so I appreciate that.
That's what friends
You know,
are
to this
for.
day, I have lost my taste for liquor of any kind. I don't drink hard liquor.
We've
I have never
all
drank
had
hard
our
liquor
moments,
since then.
Dreadball.
Since
We've
then?
all
It ruined
had
me.
our moments.
You lost your
Yeah.
taste for hard
No,
liquor and Crypt Kicker.
You know, did I go to any shows after that?
Probably not.
So yeah. Yeah, that's
I get
Yeah.
nauseous when I listen to Crypt Kicker, but it's nothing to do with the music. Bad
man.
association.
Oh, that's good.
We've all had our moments. That's all it is.
Oh man.
So
yeah.
you do a sorry, Mark, did you
No, go ahead,
want
man.
to
No. Go ahead.
I just wanted to chime in. So you're in a Maiden tribute band called Maiden Voyage.
He was in a bad way. So we're just walking out. It's a cool wintry evening, you know, and he goes, "Here, you better have the keys. You better drive." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna drive because I haven't been drinking." So he sits. He's like, "Just let me sit here for a second."
There's
So
an
we
interesting
sitting-
mosh pit too in that show, but
Yeah, well, that's another.
we won't get into
story.
any
No,
details. But there
we'll
were
save
good
that.
mosh pits at the Crypt Kicker
We'll
shows.
save that for a non-recorded episode. Yeah. Yeah. So
Did
he
it
sits.
have to
Then he just starts throwing up. He's sitting outside the truck. He's like, "Ugh." I'm like, oh, "Okay, good. It's coming up. It's coming up." I'm like, "Ugh." And pukes twice. He's like,
It was blue too, I think. It was
he goes, "I think I
Jägermeister
feel
blue.
pretty good." It was all liquid. So then, like, he
Raspberries.
goes to get in the truck. He pukes one more time. I'm like, okay, it's out of his system. So we're driving home, and Mark's Dreadbull's got his head out the window like a dog, just laying there. And I hear this, and I feel this cold mist wash over my face.
Yes.
And I'm like, and I go, "Mark, is it snowing outside?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh." Then I heard another, and I feel cold mist. So I and so now, so he's puking. Every time he throws up, I'm getting a wash of his puke on my face. And it's all liquid and cold. And then behind me, there's a car. You know, I can see the headlights in the car. And every time he pukes, I can see this car weaving back and forth, trying to like evade the streams of vomit flying behind. You know, and it's like, and I'm like, I got to step on the gas, and I can see it trying to wash its windshield, you know. And I'm like, fuck, they're going to catch us. And I gunned him. I'm doing like 90. Mark's like, yeah. And it's like, you know, and I think by the time we got home, he had puked everything out and was sober enough. I think we had to take the car to we took the truck.
I
to the
think
car
you
wash.
stopped. You were nice enough to stop and power wash.
Yeah, I power washed the back because there
outside
was
of the car.
vomit
the truck.
everywhere. You know, inside the car, outside the car.
The back window was like stained glass.
Yeah, yeah, it was
really
and it
awful.
was just, you know. And then I remember when Dreadbull went to sell that truck a few years ago, he said he was still finding little tiny dry bits of vomit in the crevices.
Oh my
The
God.
great soak.
Bravo.
So that's
Job
what you know.
well done.
You got me
That
home
was a good
safely though,
night.
so I appreciate that.
That's what friends
You know,
are
to this
for.
day, I have lost my taste for liquor of any kind. I don't drink hard liquor.
We've
I have never
all
drank
had
hard
our
liquor
moments,
since then.
Dreadball.
Since
We've
then?
all
It ruined
had
me.
our moments.
You lost your
Yeah.
taste for hard
No,
liquor and Crypt Kicker.
You know, did I go to any shows after that?
Probably not.
So yeah. Yeah, that's
I get
So
nauseous when I listen to Crypt Kicker, but it's nothing to do with the music. Bad
man.
association.
Oh, that's good.
We've all had our moments. That's all it is.
Oh man.
So
yeah.
you do a sorry, Mark, did you
No, go ahead,
want
man.
to
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to chime in. So you're in a Maiden tribute band called Maiden Voyage. Do you want to touch on that? Like, how did that start? Because you're in that band with Ty Cook, who was also in Antithesis. You're in that band with Ed Stevens, who is in every band in Cleveland. So
I think Ed's been in every metal band that's ever came out of Cleveland, right?
and yeah, every Cleveland band, in or out, features Ed.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Ed story? Let's do that. What's your favorite Ed story?
Man, I got a good Ed story. He was in Beyond Fear for a little while.
I did not know this.
Mm-hmm.
See, wild card.
Yep. Always dealing them out, man. No, he replaced the original bass player, Dennis Hayes. And,
okay.
Dennis,
Yeah.
Dennis is a great guy, great bass player. But
Seven Witches, right? He was also in Seven Witches,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was in Winter's Bane with Timmy.
Okay.
Originally, back in the day, and him and Tim had a long history together. But Ed replaced him. Dennis, was moving, I guess, to Arizona or whatnot. But
okay.
But yeah, Ed never been out of or he'd never been to Mexico to play a show before, and we were playing one of these little like weekend, festivals and coming back home, flying in and then flying back, but Ed was kind of nervous because of all the cartel violence and stuff.
Yeah.
And John Capri's like, hey man, he started messing with Ed because Ed is a really like timid, kind of passive guy. Super nice, like awesome bass player,
that.
but he wouldn't harm a fly.
Right.
Like he's afraid of spiders. I mean, the guy's
yes,
he hates insects and stuff.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, it's like he wouldn't harm a fly. Literally, when I say that, I mean it. And so John's kind of messing with them now. So he's telling them, hey, dude, when we go down there, I just want you to be prepared that when we get off the flight, they like greet us in like armored vehicles with like flak jackets and helmets to put on because it's so dangerous, man. There's like bullets flying. You got to like make a run for it from the plane to the armored car and shit, And yeah, you don't want to go anywhere because you probably would get kidnapped. But yeah, so he was just scaring the crap out of Ed. So Ed's like, oh man, I don't know if I want to go, man, And we're like, Ed, it'll be all right, And Matt Sorg, who is in Ringworm,
yes,
he was in Beyond Fear with us for the last couple years too.
Okay, and, didn't know that either.
He wrote a couple songs for what would have been the second Beyond Fear record, which were really cool, like cool thrashy stuff, Yeah. So I was like, man, I loved them, man. But I love playing those songs too. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, he was with us. So Matt was always busting his balls because they were in Ringworm together,
Right.
So that's how. That was the whole tie. John was in Ringworm, so he brought Matt and Ed, into Beyond Fear. So Ed, he's nervous as shit. So at the show, the night of the show, we've always worked with this promoter, and he was super cool. He'd always pick us up, take us anywhere we wanted to go. He was like, if you guys want to go anywhere, me and my, production guy, we'll handle everything, my assistant, you don't go anywhere without us, So
yeah.
But we're like, okay, Ed's really nervous. Ed's nervous as shit. So after the show, we want you to pretend that we got to get the fuck out of town because there's a guy who's in the cartel who just happens to be in the show. And he's mad at Ed because Ed was giving his woman the eyes, and maybe drying up his face too much, doing.
Oh goodness!
Right, man.
Too much slapping the bass.
So he goes, okay. So this guy George, he's like, okay, I'll play along. So like 5-10 minutes after we're done, he comes storming in the dressing room. He's like, yo guys, Vamonos, we gotta go. And he's like, what's going on? We're all like, trying to play along. What's happening? What do you mean? And he's acting like, the sky's falling, man. We need to pack up, get the fuck out of here, And we're like, what's wrong, George? What's wrong? And Tim Ripper's trying to play along too. He's like, oh shit, what's happening? He can't act for shit. Let me tell you. We're like, Tim, dude. You can't, pull it off better now. He's like, oh geez, what's happening? A little more sense of panic, Tim.
Yeah.
But he comes in and then Ed, he goes, man, this guy's pissed and he's outside and he wants to kick Ed's ass. And Ed's like, what did I do? And he's like, Ed, I guess he said you were looking at his old lady while you were playing, and he doesn't like that shit, man. He said you were grinding your bass too much in her direction. It's like, hey, this is nothing, man. What are you talking about? So he's in pure panic mode. And this was kind of like his initiation into the band, so to speak, we got to bust his chops. So anyway, we just let it ride out until it was like, he was literally like, oh my God, I didn't do nothing. He's shaking. And finally, it was like you could see the panic, this pure terror in his eyes, like, oh shit, this guy from the cartel's gonna kill me. And we finally let it, the cat out of the bag. Hey, yeah, we're just fucking with you. And he was so mad. He was like, first person he accused of setting him up was Matt, because Matt was always messing with him. And he grabs Matt and he's like, you motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you. And Matt's like, it wasn't me, it was Eric, And Ed's like, he was telling me that he was getting mad at Matt, because Matt was always messing with him. I'm like, Ed, you got to be more aggressive. You got to give it back to Matt, just mess with him back, because that's all Matt is. He just likes to bust your chops and have fun. But
Ed doesn't mess. He's not a messer.
No,
he's just a sweetheart.
He is. Yeah, he doesn't know how to take that. So I go, Ed, you just got to tell him to fuck off. And then one day Matt was giving it to him, and he goes, you know what, man? Fuck you, man. I go, there you go, Ed. There you go. Let him fucking have it. But yeah, that was our little initiation for Ed into the band back then. I think it was like 2011 or something. It was a fun time though. But
I used to hang out with Ed in Lakewood, and he was just like such a nice guy. I used to go drinking with him and stuff like that. And just hearing that he's in every single Cleveland
that's a small
band
world.
is like hilarious. I used to hang out with him a lot.
He's a beautiful soul. Ed is a beautiful soul.
He really is, and so is his sister.
Yep.
They're both great people. And when I lived in Lakewood,
and a phenomenal bass player.
Yes.
He used to do like a little bit in the School of Rock and stuff like that. And he taught one of my friend's sons bass and stuff like that. So it was always fun to go to those School of Rock shows and stuff. And he just loves music, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real good guy. So that's funny to hear the stories.
He sucks.
I'm tagging him when this airs. So
nice.
I text that bastard. He never texts me back. That prick.
Well, what time did you text him? Because there's Ed time. He doesn't get up till like 3 PM. So
that is true. That's like when I get off of work.
Yes.
Hello, kiddies. This is Montag, Master of Illusion. You have been listening to part 1 of our interview with Eric Elkins. You can find Heavy Metal Horror on unsaneradio.com, listen to full episodes, or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our brand new YouTube page, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hey, you know somebody who'd like our show? Tell them about us. This has been Montag, Master of Illusion, and you've been listening to Heavy Metal Horror.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.